Hey guys, today I want to go over my overall Pokemon card investing thesis. And basically what it means is in in every market there's opportunities. In a crazy market we have right now where prices are so high, there are fewer opportunities than in a bearish market we had a couple years ago where you could pretty much buy anything for far under MSRP. However, there are opportunities everywhere, and I could give many examples even right now, and I will in coming videos. But I want to share how you can make the decision on your own in your journey in the next coming years, maybe tomorrow, next month, if you're trying to make a decision for yourself on whether or not you should buy it and whether or not it'll be a good investment. And I've made lots of investments in Pokemon cards. I have probably roughly 100,000 in sealed right now. So much capital appreciation on these in the last year or two, and pretty much everything has gone up, but there are a few items that I selected that have had massive gains. And so I want to share how you can pick for yourself. And honestly, we have this setup here where you see the same couple things every video, but with a little changes. But I have made so many investments that are just stored in the back over there that I'll probably go over in a coming video, just so you guys can see all of it before I sell. But let me tell you how you can make the decision for yourself. And first and foremost, I wanted to say, in a market where it's bearish and everything is under MSRP, you pretty much can't go wrong, right? You could buy anything and you'll make money, because so far, if you're buying sealed, pretty much nothing has lost value if it has packs inside, basically. If you, not like theme decks, right? Like booster boxes, tins, anything, you're doing well. Even the worst sets, like Steam Siege, supposedly the worst ever set, and it's still doing extremely well if you have a sealed booster box, if you have sealed booster packs. Now, some do better than others, and those opportunities you can see even in a bull market like right now. So let's start off with sealed equals king. Sealed is king no matter what. This is just the most simple rule I'd like to start off with, because I made a pretty big mistake, which was buying a lot of the promos for the Japanese Battle Partner set, because I wanted to sell them with the boxes. And when I realized that people don't actually really want them, I was just gonna hold them. But the thing is, they print these into Oblivion, and even if you grade them, you're still not doing well. So sealed is king. You pretty much anything else, singles, you can easily go wrong, unless it's like a Charizard, a Pikachu, and Eevee. Still, there's way more risk than just going with sealed. So if you're just starting out, if you're not experienced, stick with sealed. And sealed is just historically so safe and almost guaranteed gains. Next, make sure to make no risky choices. If you stick with the strongest investments, even though they may seem so obvious and mainstream, this is really good in a bear market, because they're the obvious choices, but they're still so underpriced. For example, booster boxes. When supposed weak sets like Paradox Rift, Scarlet Violet base, those sets are $80 a box. You can pick those up and you will do extremely well. When you buy Pokemon Center ETBs directly from Pokemon Center, when there's an abundance of them in stock, you'll do extremely well. It's hard to stomach and see, honestly, especially if you're new, when you're just starting out. But in just a couple years, wait for the market to cycle back, and you will see the tremendous gains. Even in the worst sets, the horrible sets that no one wants, you'll still see tremendous gains. So But those are like the staples. If you buy booster boxes, if you buy Pokemon Center ETBs, and you don't deal with anything like tins, collection boxes, you will be extremely well. If you either buy booster boxes, ETBs, or that's about it. If you buy booster boxes or ETBs, you'll do extremely well. Those are the safest ones. It's boring, and if you start out with that, you can dabble into other things, collection boxes, tins, as you become more experienced, UPCs. But just to start out, that's the safest way. And if that's one of your choices, a booster box or a ETB, you're probably gonna do well. Next, if you get the opportunity to buy at MSRP or below, it's almost 100% a good purchase, because you can see in a bull market, nothing's available at MSRP, not even theme decks. And in a lot of bear markets, you can purchase a lot of sets for under MSRP. And those are likely almost always the floor, because at the end of the day, it will make money over time if you're buying at MSRP or under. It only gets tricky when you're buying like good items but above MSRP. For example, if you buy a Evolving Skies booster box right now, will you make money, or how much more money will you make? Because a lot of these items are basically ceilinged for at least the next 10 years, because Evolving Skies has seen so much growth, right? And you need them to age a lot, become vintage, before you see more tremendous gains. So if you have any opportunity to buy new sets at below MSRP, that's a great purchase. And now the next part would be to be consolidated, because I made a huge mistake when I started out, and it's just my idea was buy one of everything, just like an index fund, right? And that really only works for new people who just want to start out and don't know what they're doing. It's literally the same as buying an index fund, but it's not good if you even have the slightest idea of what you're doing. Because if you have one tin here, 2 collection boxes there, a couple loose packs, 1 booster box, like, you really don't get to reap the full gains of your intelligence. Because if you sat there and were like, Team Up is a great set, Evolving Skies is a great set, I'm gonna buy 100 booster boxes of each, you would make a lot of money. You'd be a millionaire right now. But if you chose instead to spread that money across with one of every item of the set, and one of every set of the Sword and Shield era, of the Sun and Moon era, but you would still do well, but not nearly as well. So if you have the slightest idea of what you're doing and you follow the basic principles, like buying booster boxes, just be consolidated. Pick that good set of the booster box and just buy all of it. Just put all your money into that. If you're making, if you have any idea what you're doing, and you pick that one item that it's going to be good, just go with it. Because, for example, if you buy 100 boxes of the worst set of the era, rather than buying one of every single product released in that era, you'll still probably do better, just because of how strong booster boxes are. So if you're picking the right item, be consolidated in your purchases. And now let's talk about selling before it's too high. Now this one is a bit out there, because probably many people don't agree with this, but this is one of the biggest things I stress, because I feel like 99% of people don't have a great exit strategy. They're just gonna sit on it forever, which will lead us to the last point. But if you sell before it's too high, I think it's phenomenal, because as I said at the start of the video, there are opportunities everywhere. Whether it's a bear market or a bull market, there's always opportunities. It's just harder to find in some markets, but there will always be opportunities. And worst case scenario, just sit on the cash for a year and in a high yield bond, and collect some interest on it, and just wait for the opportunities. Don't rush into it. Just take the cash. The reason being is things become hard to sell the higher they get. People get priced out, and you deal with more scammers, and it's a lot more risk if things get too expensive. which is why I think usually for me, around once something passes $1,000, then I'll start to consider selling it or not, or seriously considering it, right? Depending on the item, like some exclusive items you may want to hold forever, right, and sell at auction later. But most items you could probably sell. Like if I had 100 booster boxes of a set and they hit $1,000-$2,000 a box, I'd just sell at least half, right, or most of them, and leave like 10, or just sell them all, because the money can be put somewhere else and make the same percentage gains, because the new sets will appreciate as well. I could sell 100 boxes of Evolving Skies, put it into 100 boxes, or I could take that money and probably buy 10,000 boxes of the new mega set, right? These are just made up numbers, but I could do that and then see gains with that, and then sell all of them once they hit 1,000 a box, and then put into the newest set, right? That's the idea. Like you can keep just taking and rolling it over rather than keeping it the same item, because you don't have to make all the gains in one place. You can miss out on gains here and make them over there, right? So that's why I think you should sell before they get too high, because it gets difficult to sell, and you'll turn over the inventory way faster and get more cash. And honestly, I think it's better making smaller sales but way more sales. You'll make more in the long run, and you won't have to worry about the last point, which is always have cash. If you always have cash, you'll never miss those opportunities that they just come. Like you just suddenly notice them, and you won't be able to take advantage if you've got a $20,000 box, one box in the closet that you can't sell, right? Because you can't find a buyer right now, and you're missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime, right? Like for example, the market suddenly crashes horrendously, and no one will buy your $20,000 box, and your cash is stuck in there, and you can't deploy that cash into a way better investment that will yield way bigger gains. So you always want to be properly capitalized, have enough cash, especially if you are putting a lot of money into it and you aren't financially free. So you still have bills, you still have all that, right? You need to think about because if you need money quick, you may end up selling at a steep discount. So always have free cash, always be properly capitalized, and that'll let you never be forced to sell. You never want to be forced to sell, and you'll always have cash to buy at new opportunities, even if they come up like that. And so those last two kind of go together, because if you sell sealed before it hits too high, you'll sell them fast, plus you'll have a lot of inventory turned over fast, and you'll get more opportunities, and you'll deploy the cash into them. So yeah, those are my basic philosophies, my basic points of what to do investing in Pokemon. And you could easily apply this into pretty much anything when making a pick on whether or not you should buy it, and to let you know the basic guidelines of whether or not you think it's a good investment. And to put it in even simpler terms, if you really want to go super simple, does it have a Pikachu, does it have a Charizard, does it have an Eevee? If it has one of those, you could probably buy it, right? But those are just more depth of guidelines you can consider when making your choices of investments in the future. So yeah, that's my thinking of how I make my choices and how they have made me significant gains in the last couple of years. And yeah, click on any of the videos you see on the screen if you want to see more, hear more from me about my journey and my thinking. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think and what you're doing for your investing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Subscribe to join the journey, guys, and yeah, see ya.